G'day guys, welcome back to Mango Invest. Right, we're going to continue the series with, we're just going to pick a stock from the top 100 high dividend stocks from macro trends, and we're going to go through a basic analysis just to see, if this is a good dividend stock to buy. So moving straight on to Seeking Alpha, we'll click the dividends tab here, and moving on to the dividend scorecard. So straight away, we've got a dividend yield of 3.81%. and a 5-year growth rate of 11%, which is actually really good. That's on the higher end. Good companies like JEPI and SAHD are growing their dividend by, like 15, 16%. You've got Coca-Cola and McDonald's around that 7 to 8% mark. So, 11% is pretty good. And they've got 11 years of dividend growth with an annual payout or a last dividend of 48 cents. And they pay quarterly there. So, straight away, pretty good so far. But let's move on to the dividend history and we'll see how they're tracking there. So as you can see up the top, they've been paying a dividend consecutively for 33 years, but it's only of the 11 most recent years that they've been growing that dividend. So let's have a look at the 10-year history here. You can see that nice sort of linear progression. Every financial year, they're growing their dividend. So we've gone from 23 cents per share in 2017 to 48 cents in 2023. So let's move down here. So as you can see there, in 2019, a dividend of 37 cents. 2021, 44 cents. Most recently, again, there you see 48 cents per share. So that's good to see that they're increasing that dividend over time. We'll have a look at the growth tab just to see how much they've been growing that by. And again, here's the year-over-year sort of growth there, which is looking really good. All right, so we won't go too far down the list. Let's just go from 2013. So, all right, so they went negative by 16%, but since 2014 onwards, it's actually grown by a fair margin. Now, look at the 2014. They've grown by 44%. All right, fast forwarding to 2019, 21%, really good. And only the most recent of 2 years, so 2021 and 22, they've only grown it by 5 and 3%. But over the last sort of 10 years, you can see the massive growth pattern that TSN has made, which is really exciting to see. We'll just sort of go into the financials of the company, and we'll just see how they're all sort of going with that. But straight away, looking at the income statement. So I look at the revenue. Okay, and they're making over $50 billion worth of revenue, and see that nice sort of linear growth. So from 2013, a picture perfect growth all the way to 2022. We'll see how much the cost of those goods are. Okay, so with $50 billion of revenue, the most recent cost was just over 46. What is that? Yeah, so $46 billion worth of revenue, and making the gross profit just over $6 billion. And again, look at they're continuing to grow that profit over time. As you look 2013 to 2022, it's a nice sort of growth here. Let's look at the earnings per share, how much money they make every per share, and it's now hitting $9. But as you can see, it's actually growing from 2013 all the way to 2022, which is really good. We'll have a quick look at the balance sheet. All right, let's see. Look at the cash on hand. Let's have a look at this. Okay, a little bit of a spike in 2021. Overall, it's not really linear, but it's probably a little bit volatile due to some recent purchases of assets, which would then up their liabilities. But we'll have a look at that. Right, total assets is $36 billion compared to $17 billion worth of liabilities. Okay, so that's good there. Looking at the graph, okay, so they're constantly growing their assets, which would mean their liabilities should be growing as well. Okay, we've had a little bit of a reduction in 2022, which is good. Okay, let's have a look at the cash flow statement. Okay, so cash flow from operating activities. Okay, so yeah, that's fairly consistent. I've had a spike in 2020 to 2021. But discounted cash flow is cash flow from operating activities minus capital expenditures. So, in 2021, you've had just under $4 billion, with capex being $1.2 billion. Right, so you've got $2.6 billion worth of cash flow, and in 2022, you've got what's that? Roughly, $900 million worth of cash flow. So that's good to see. Let's have a look at dividends, and that sort of marries up with what Seeking Alpha is suggesting there. So they've had the constant growth in paying their shareholders dividends, and that's what you're seeing there. Let's move on to the stock price. So at the moment, it's trading at $50. So this is the 3-year period of what you're seeing here. So back in 3 years ago, we're sitting at $58. In 2022, February, you've had a high of $98. Right, so it's trading very low at the moment in reference to the last sort of 3 years. So this might indicate an opportunity to buy. I'm not going to pretend to know everything about Tyson Foods. I literally just came across it as I was looking at the top 100 high dividend stocks on Macro Trends, and I thought, what, let's have a little bit of a look into this. So let me know what your analysis on Tyson Foods is. I was actually very surprised. I mean, looking at the the constant dividends of what was it, like 11 to 12 years, but they're actually growing that dividend, of a 5-year compound annual growth rate of over 11%. And the stock price is trading fairly down. Like that's shocked me a little bit. I reckon that's actually a buy, and this could be a very successful company and a consistent growing dividend company for all the dividend investors out there. So definitely a company to look into a little bit more. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Whether you want to buy, whether there's something I'm missing here. But again, I definitely think it is a company to look into a little bit more. But as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you did like the content, and I'll catch you next time.